Hello and welcome to a brand new experiment. Something new, something exciting, and dare I say, mind-blowing? Yes, that is right. Today, we are going to be starting on my family's server. And this is going to be kind of a new series where I show you guys all the new stuff that I've been doing with my family, actually, on our family realm. I think we'll call this series Surviving on the Family Realm. With me, your host, Superdaddy13. So, as you can see on my hotbar, I do have a few pieces of gear. I'm going to go ahead and equip those, and we already look a lot better. We have been playing on this server for about a year now, and we've accomplished quite a bit. I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a world tour on this first episode here, and kind of show you some of the neat things that we've done at spawn, and then kind of go off to show you my new land of my own. As we did end up splitting off into our own separate lands once we had established a good spawn location. So, the first thing I wanted to kind of show off, I think we'll show off kind of the rules of the server. Welcome to the hardcore realm. It's not actually hardcore, guys, but we decided that we wanted to make a realm that we could all play on and kind of have rules that were similar to a hardcore realm. So, we came up with something similar to this. Welcome to the hardcore realm. The rules are pretty simple and absolute. When you die, you are not kicked from the server. Instead, anything that was in your inventory is left to despawn. Any gear that you can reacquire after your death must be placed into a chest-barrel of shame until you have met the requirements to get said gear back. In order to regain your gear in the chest-barrel of shame, you must remake gear of equivalent value and enchant it with the main enchantments that were on it. An example, if you had fortune, it needs to be fortune. If you had silk touch, it needs to be silk touch. Items at the spawn base are up for grabs by all whom participate in farming said resources. If you use a resource for one of your needs, please replenish as much as you can by either farming the resource on the farm or using the auto farm. Diamonds will be split evenly after leaving spawn base to set up your own bases. Buy-in is 2 stacks. Each individual empire is responsible for creating their own shop at the spawn base, where they will then trade resources from their empire and set prices and stock their items accordingly. And obviously there's no theft. And large farms are going to be created together, and all the participants will be allowed to reap the rewards when they AFK the farms. However, they must contribute to use a farm. There will be no pranking and explosions of destruction of any kind. Have fun, but remember it is hardcore. Be careful and follow the rules or for redeeming yourself if you do happen to perish. And as you can see, I totally messed up yourself. But there's the gist of the rules on this server. There are a few other rules that we've kind of come up with here and there, and we'll go over them as we go throughout the series, I believe. But that's just kind of the gist of what we came up with. So, the first thing I figured I'd kind of show off today is the iron farm that I built on this starter area. This is actually our spawn-in location. So this is on spawn. And the reason we built it on spawn, for those of you that don't know, is that when you're on a server, no matter where you're at, spawn is always loaded in. So, if I'm in the nether, spawn is still loaded in. This chunk is still loaded in, and I'm able to have this iron farm running even when I'm not present here. So this design is actually kind of a combination of some things I saw Pixel Riffs and Waddles both doing, and I figured I'd kind of take from both of their designs and create something sort of unique. I'm sure someone out there has done something very similar to this. Iron farms are not a new concept by any means, guys, so anything that we do has probably been done already. However, I did kind of try to make this as unique as I could to myself. I kind of tried to create my own little design for the capture area, and the area that the iron golems actually come to perish. As you can see, one's falling down now. And they come in and they burn in that area, they drop down, and they iron and the poppies are collected through the hoppers down at the bottom at their feet. And if we come here, this is the mine entrance. We kind of built the collection area below the mine entrance. So the poppies are automatically sorted into this composter here. And when you compost anything that's green or any plants, any food, things like that, you end up with bone meal. So as you can see, this has just been chucking away and creating bone meal for quite a while. The iron farm has also been chucking away, and as you can see, this thing overflows very frequently. We have very frequently had to refill or to clear this out and store all the iron blocks that we can on the side. And as you can see, even after we clear it out as best we can, it still ends up kind of overflowing over here. And we end up with a large amount of iron. We have currently 2 double chests and 2 barrels almost full of iron blocks. We also keep a lot of iron excess things around just for anybody to grab at spawn. But that's the gist of how this iron farm works and runs, and I'm pretty happy because I didn't create it, sure, but I didn't follow any tutorial either to do this. I used my own knowledge to make this, and I feel like that's growth. At any given point, if you can just use your own knowledge to make your own farm and don't really have to copy any one specific guideline to do it, you're definitely growing in the game. But now that I've shown you the iron farm and the mine entrance here, along with the collection area, I think it's maybe time to go ahead and show you the mine. This is our mine. As you can see, it goes pretty deep down. We decided to take a diagonal approach with it. I like that because we can have grass along the edge here, and it makes it look kind of unique. So as we get here, we come to our first stop along this tunnel. So as we were digging for resources along this tunnel, we ended up coming across a spawner, and we ended up making it into a very lucrative rotten flesh area, because this is a zombie spawner. This was one of our first experience places where we gathered a lot of experience to get most of our things enchanted to begin with, and we got lots of experience from this early game. And moving on from the spawner here, we continue down into the mine further on. Each of these different branches that you see going off in different directions up at each of these mine levels is actually set at a correct level to mine for a certain item back in 1.17. That's when we created this world. But here we come on to the next stop in our area. So at the end of this very long tunnel, we came across a natural spawning cluster of 3 different geodes, all within very close proximity, and have since made them as efficient as possible. And as you can see, they're all full right now of crystals. But this is a triple cluster of geodes, and I figured that was worth showing off because that's an amazing find. But now I'm going to go ahead and continue on down here into the final depths of the mine. And down here we created a massive area where we could then branch mine out looking for diamonds. And we also brought down here a couple golden apples and splash potion of weaknesses because we ended up finding a couple zombie villagers and we decided to cure them. And they are Fred and George. And they trade us very cheap diamond tools. And this is usually where we come when we need to replenish some of our items or gear that have been destroyed when we die. As you can see, we brought down a lot of blocks of iron to trade with them too, because why not when you have so much iron? But that's the total tour of the mine. I'm not going to take you down any of our strip mines. That we each took a wall and we ended up going mining for our diamonds so that we could each find our own diamonds to contribute to a pile that we ended up splitting amongst all of us when we left spawn. The next items on our list are the tree farms, which were pretty basic, nothing too crazy. We decided it would be easier to elevate them so that the saplings could fall down on the ground and we could just come down here to collect them. We have a larger platform because we found a pretty easy way to make a giant spruce chunk, which is a quick way to collect a large amount of wood when you end up chopping this all down. I'll show you guys how we end up doing that a little bit later in this series, I believe. We also have a wart and nether wart tree area right over here, so that way if we want any of those variations of wood, we can collect them at spawn right over here if necessary. I figured the next thing I could show you is our location that we have gathered all of our farm stuff, like carrots, berries, potatoes, beets, wheat, and all of the above. I find that this is a very easy farm to work. You can, if you feel like it, just grab a bucket of water and dump it in on these and it'll end up collecting almost all of these all by itself. However, I don't end up usually doing that. I rather just come through here and collect it by hand on this farm because it's kind of cathartic a little bit to come through here and just plant some crops sometimes and collect them the old-fashioned way. But as you can see, we have a spot for just about every crop here, and then down here we decided this would be a great spot to farm nether wart because you're always going to need a decent quantity of nether wart when you try to make things like red nether brick or anything of that quality. So right here we have one of the things that has sustained everyone on this server for most of the entire server. In here is what we call the cow crusher. And this thing is pretty basic, pretty straightforward farm. And in the game there are a few mechanics that restrict how many of any particular entity can be in one block. Or in this case what we call mobs. Mobs are any particular AI in the game that is not player based, that may be hostile or maybe not hostile. In this case the cow is the mob that we are crushing, hence the term mob crusher or cow crusher. So the basic principle of this is that you feed them and they end up breeding up and they'll make some babies, and the game kills off the oldest ones first rather than killing off the babies, because that would be cruel. Not at all like pinching them together in a one small space. That's not cruel at all. But this is how you end up collecting a bunch of meat, other things like that in the game. You feed them up, the game kills off some of the babies, and you end up getting a bunch of meat, leather, and things like that. Actually, that's all you get at the collection area below you. Oh, you liked the wheat, huh? And down here you can see there's a bunch of raw meat down here to collect. Another very similar farm is what I call the pig pincher, where you have a bunch of pigs. The same concept. You're feeding them all the beetroots you can give them, and they are going to end up killing off the older ones and giving you a bunch of meat collected in the area of your choosing. So the next thing I wanted to kind of show off, I can't really go in and show off, but this is our bee farm, where we have a lot of bees that have gone in and made us a massive amount of honeycomb. Also, there was a lot of honey that we ended up taking out of here not too long ago, but this farm has overproduced more than we actually needed, so that's a good thing, right? And then right behind it we have a smelter system, and this is actually a really neat system that we built. My wife built, Super Mammy, or Mad Mammy. And the Mad Mammy has built a automatic furnace here that automatically replenishes off of bamboo, and when you stick something in there, it will cook, and it cooks relatively fast in the individual furnaces that you make. The regular furnace, your smoke furnace, or smoker, and your blast furnace. And in here you'll see we have a lot of meat. Like I said, this has supplied the server on any of the foods that we could desire. The next thing I wanted to kind of show off is our automatic wool farm here. We do have a small spot here with one sheep, and right now he's dyed white, but depending on the color that you want of dye, you come in here and you'll dye him out whatever color you need and collect said dye as you are doping around spawn doing whatever it is that you need to do. The next thing I want to show you is not a farm that's my design at all. This is something that I saw done by Waddles. And I'm sorry guys, not every farm that I show off I'm going to know who the original creator was. Some of them were designs that my wife or my son may have looked up to check out, and I'm not gonna actually know what person they actually went to look those up from. So if you do happen to know who those people that created some of these farms, go ahead and let me know. Shout it out in the comments. That'd be awesome, so that way I can give them a proper shout out. But in this case, this is the area that I go to in order to AFK. And when you're AFK up here, you collect quite a large amount of gunpowder. You could really make this farm as large as you want, going basically as high up as you want, with as many layers as you want, to collect as much in the way of gunpowder as you can. And so that's one neat aspect about this farm. I ended up making it a little bit larger than the one that Waddles made in his tutorial, just because it's a family server and we figured we'd end up needing more than just your average person would. So before I go on to the next aspect of the game, I want to go ahead and kind of give you a heads up as to how many people are on this server. Currently there are 3, myself, Superdaddy, my wife, the Mad Mammy, and my kiddo, Super Buddy. And on the server, like we said, we were required to create a shop, each of us. And that's what we have all done. This is a small little shopping district that we've created in spawn area. And each of us has our own shops. Before I go anywhere, I'll give you guys the chance to kind of guess which shops are owned by who. And I'm going to go ahead and show you some of the shops right now. So, this is the Mad Mammy's shop. And she is in charge of all things enchanting on this server. So that means she has all the books that you would need to enchant any of your gear. Speaking of, she has Thorns 3, which is one of the only things I don't have on any of my gear, really. I might have to get that from her here soon. But we use pretty clear ways of telling each other how much each item is. She also sells empty maps, some lanterns, although I think most of us can make our own lanterns given how much iron we have. Some clocks, bone blocks, and she also has cornered the Froglight market, which is something I'm actually eager to purchase off of her, because I would love to use some of these verdant Froglights in some of my builds coming up in the future. And maybe even some of the pearlescent ones, as I do really enjoy the purple hue that comes out of these blocks. She's also got a market cornered in the magma cream department, as I'm sure her frog farm has plenty of leftover magma cream to work with. She also sells glass, but it looks like she's running out at the moment. And if the mood arises, you can sometimes hire her services for interior decoration, as I've done a couple times. Coming outside and taking a look at Mad Mammy's shop from outside, we can see that she has taken quite a good amount of time to decorate it and make it look very pretty, and has a very interesting dome-shaped roof with a glass see-through area that you can actually enjoy the sunroof that she built. Moving on to the next shops, these are both my kids' shops. Why, hello there, creeper. What do we say to death? Not today, death! Not today! But as I was saying before, rudely interrupted by that creeper, these are both Betty's shops. Over here we have the arrow shop. He's in charge of everything arrow related. So he sells all sorts of tipped arrows over there. And then in here we have his other shop where he has put together a couple miscellaneous items. For instance, some ice that he's currently selling, it looks like. Some slime that he's currently selling, as he has built his own slime farm, which works very well. If you come up top, you can see that he's selling lily pads, and he's taken quite a bit of time to decorate the interior here and make it look very interesting with this nice fountain. Moving on to the last shop here, you'll see mine. This is my shop, the Superdaddy's shop, and we'll go ahead and go inside here. I did enlist the Mad Mammy's help with this one and purchased her services in decorating the interior of my house, my shop, and she did a great job in here, I believe. The hanging chandelier, the lights, it's very well decorated, and she did phenomenally, so I have to give her all the credit where it's due. She did a great job. But in here I do sell a few things. Currently selling rockets, which I'm running low on. Looks like I've been purchased out. I sell TNT, string. I do sell gunpowder if you're not willing to wait and farm it out at our creeper farm. And one of my most recent trades is totems of undying. And here in this realm, totems are a valid way of escaping your death, so you should always keep at least one on you. In here I don't really have anything yet, but I have game plans for this, guys. I have game plans, and it's going to be quite fun. But that's our fun little shopping district there, and I think I really enjoy the fact that we decided to do this, because it kind of gives us a nice little community and commerce in the area instead of just, hey, I'm going to take this from your land. So the next thing I want to show you is this small little cocoa bean farm that we built. This is just so that you can get brown dye if you need it, and I really like that we decided to put this at the spawn location because I keep ending up needing brown dye, so it gives me a reason to come back here. Also, the next thing on the list is this amazing nether portal that we ended up creating. This is one of my first custom trees, And I'm actually pretty proud of how this thing came out. It, like I said, it's one of my first ones that I've ever done. I think it looks pretty good for a custom tree. Also here in the spawn area we do have our individual bases. One of them was Buddy's here. He decided to make his own small base while me and his mother decided to bunk together. And he has a bunch of stuff in this awesome little base. It ends up being a neat little bunker where he has his Grienne and Mumbo J, as these are both some of his favorite streamers, and I love that he decided to name them after them. But he also does have a neat little secret area that Mumbo J decided to give away that takes him back to some of his more valuable items that I steal regularly. Just kidding. So this was a neat thing that my wife kind of came up with, where you could easily and quickly break up ores and things of that nature by holding them in one hand and breaking them with the other one immediately after placing them. It was actually a really good idea, and also it works very well if you end up putting a piece of water right here and using concrete powder right here. You can very quickly make concrete powder right here that will collect into one of these chests. So this is a very neat little area that Mommy came up with, and we do love the Mad Mammy's ideas. So next off, I wanted to show you our stable area. This is where we kind of keep our horses, our llamas, our donkeys, and when we had them, we had some mules right here, but we've actually kind of been taking those to our respective lands as we've gotten them. Next, I'm going to show you this secret entrance into our main little hobbit base that me and Mammy ended up sharing. And to start off, it has a neat feature where it collects automatically for you bamboo, and it collects kelp as well, which it will then immediately filter into here as a fuel source and collect. This is also a secret entrance into our secret hobbit hole, and the kelp is collected here after it's dried out, and you can then make it into blocks as needed or as desired. So next up, I'll go ahead and show another build that my wife made here. This is our pumpkin and melon farm, where, as you can see, the pumpkins are collected automatically and then dropped off for us in a neat area over here. We get a lot more pumpkins than we do melons, so we have more chests to collect those. Next off, I'll show you our breeder. This is where we have our mending person, and where we all got our first mending books in the game. But it also doubles out as a breeder and a carrot farm simultaneously. I'm just kidding. Not a carrot farm, guys. I was just kidding. It's not. But when we end up coming out of the pumpkin farm area, we can come down a hall which will take us to a natural converting area where you can convert the zombies out of the area that you collect them from. Down here is the collection chamber. We hit one of these, it dispenses them up and takes them down here where we can easily convert them into a zombie. You pulling one of these levers, and as long as you have the zombies there and the zombie is targeting your villager, it will end up turning it into a villager, and as long as your game is on hard, it will convert villagers every time to a zombie villager. And at that point you can cure them for some nice discounts, and if you so choose to, you can take them into the nether and take them off to your own land. So next I wanted to kind of show you some of the cool things me and Mammy came up with for our hobbit hole starter base. We did end up creating a nice little trading hall down here for farmers, discounting some of them, and some of them we didn't, but this is where we get a lot of our golden carrot. Also trade for emeralds with pumpkins. We have an abundance of them, and it's a really easy source of emerald. Also, we have another small villager trading hall here, some butchers, and down here you will see where the piggy pincher actually feeds directly into this. So you can quickly grab the meat from the piggy pincher and trade with them and get your emeralds that way. Also, you can take the rotten flesh from that zombie spawner that we showed off earlier in the episode, and you can trade it with these clerics to get some glowstone and other neat items. The bottles of enchanting are also a quick way to get experience after you've traded with them. Throw the bottle of enchanting on the ground, and now you've gotten double the experience. This is where we grow our cactus, and we've actually acquired a decent amount, probably more than we need for green dye purposes, and it's where we keep all of our cactus right now. Coming out of that tunnel that we were just down is our storage area. This area is where we keep all of our items that we use throughout our daily needs, and also one of the neat things about our storage area is the floor is an unlimited water source. Doesn't matter where you go in our floor, you will find that it is a water source. We did that on purpose. Not that I can really show you that anywhere on here is a water source, but you'll have to take my word based on the fact that I just grabbed that water out of a random spot on the floor, that basically anywhere in here is a water source. We also have a sugarcane farm right here where we store sugarcane. And this area is where we spent a lot of time at the beginning of our series, just storing all of our items and gathering all of our items as needed. Moving past the storage area, we come into our dripstone farm, and this thing is always overflowing. We always find that this thing almost mass-produced too much for our small little needs, because we weren't planning on building with dripstone that much. It's still nice to have though, and unfortunately we didn't collect enough of it to really end up needing to use it for big builds, but we did end up using it to make a lava farm, and in here you'll see that right past our dripstone farm is that lava farm, and it creates a decent amount of lava. To my knowledge, there's not really a way of doing an automatic lava farm, so you kind of have to find a way to come in here and manually collect it sometimes, but you have a large collection area to get a decent amount of lava in case you have a project that needs a decent amount of lava. So coming out of the storage area, we come into this ladder right here that takes us to this upper level, and this is our enchanting area, or not our enchanting, and this is our brewing area where we brew up potions and can make those for ourselves as needed. We keep some of the excess resources needed for potions up here, and the nether wart grows right there as well. And then if you continue up the ladder, you end up in our enchanting area. And this is where we spent a lot of our time making these tools that you see us using right now. I'll be honest guys, without this table, I would have died many more times, which, if I may just go ahead and show off, I have not died that many times in this series. We've been playing this series for over a year now, and times died, or numbers of death, is actually really low, guys. 3 deaths. I don't die that often when I'm trying. Yet, for some reason, I've died at least that many times in as many episodes on my other series. And that's just because you don't tend to pay attention when there's not something on the line, when there's not as many things at stake. But when you're playing on this server, you tend to pay a little more attention and try not to die. And during most of that time as well, I didn't have totems of undying. It was just me being extra careful. Lastly, I'm going to go ahead and show off this area. This is our main living area where we kind of did a little bit of decorating and made it look nice. As you can see, me and Mad Mammy have our own beds. I'm the too big, she's the just right. And we did a decent amount of decoration. Mad Mammy did most of it though. She is great at interiors, and I do love her work on this interior as well. She even made me my own little office space, and I love that. This is actually a map of our spawn, and I think that it looks pretty good. It's a kind of approximation of the general area. Down here is Mad Mammy's shop and Superdaddy's shop, and we have the custom tree, the iron farm, and then all of our crops here. And then over here are things like the smelter, the piggy pincher, the bee farm. Down here we have our automatic wool farm, and you can see almost everything in our land very clearly right here. So there is one final thing that I wanted to kind of showcase before we leave this spawn area, and that is where we have decided to place the dragon egg after defeating the end dragon. And this is a fountain that my wife and my son decided to build, and it looks amazing. As you can see, this is where we have decided to keep the one and the only end dragon egg. We also have a lightning rod here, just in case you never want to see all your hard work burned down by getting hit by a lightning storm. So we kept a lightning rod near a source of water, just in case lightning ever struck this area. But with that, I think we have officially gone through everything that is in our spawn area. I think we're going to go ahead and move on now and show you some other cool things we have built elsewhere. So, the next thing I want to showcase is actually in the end, and it's a farm that my son built. Kind of excited to show you guys, so let's go through. So this farm is an Enderman Farm, and it was a smart choice on my kiddo's part because he made it into a shop where you can buy passes to get the experience to repair all your gear and stuff from this farm. My kid is 9 years old, and I'm pretty happy that he was able to do this. He did it mostly by himself. The only thing we did was help him get some materials for it, and he put this all together. I'll go ahead and show you a clip of it now. And as we come back from that little clip, as you can see, the experience is just pouring in, and you can use that experience really quickly to just heal up any of your gear that you need to heal up, and it does it really fast. But again, I'm not certain whose farm design this is, so if you guys can help me out in the comments with that, that'd be great. He did end up watching a video on YouTube to emulate this farm, but it was him who built it, and I was really excited for him to come together and get this going. And it was also a great business idea on his part as well. So the next farm I kind of want to showcase here is the raid farm here. And this farm is actually not my design at all. And I didn't actually build it. My wife did. I bought it off of her after she built it when I had called dibs on it already. And we all know, dibs is law. Whoever calls dibs gets it. All shenanigans aside, she did feel pretty bad about having built this, so she was willing to sell it to me for a reasonable price, because she did put a lot of effort into this. So I do use this raid sword here, and once you get Bad Omen, you come into here and you swing at this armor stand, and it activates the farm. I'll go ahead and show you a clip of that right now, and I hope you guys enjoy that clip. I hope you all enjoyed that nice little clip there. As you can see, there is a bit of a downside to this farm that I have noticed every once in a while. Vexes will end up summoning. I think that has to do with my timing and my swinging. I'm just off on my timing a little bit. And the Vexes end up getting summoned because the Evokers have enough time to do so. I think that's more of a flaw on my part than the design, as the gentleman who made the farm did say that you can AFK this thing for hours and get lots of materials. And as you saw, the materials that fly in, it's a lot at once. You get a lot of materials quickly from this farm. You just have to hold a couple totems on you in case a Vex does end up summoning. Also, I've also noticed that sometimes, I don't know if it's, again, me swinging it incorrectly or not, but it does end up only doing 1 or 2 raids before it seems to break the cycle and stop summoning more of your waves of raids. So I'm not certain if that's something that I may have done incorrectly on the build, or if it's just the farm will occasionally do that, and that's just something you kind of got to live with. Maybe leave me a comment and tell me if there's anything I could do better. But I'll give you a quick little tour of this area. We did a lot of storage for these, just because it produces so many items so fast that you really need to have excess storage, or else this backs up and you end up with losing a lot of your items. But as you can see, you get a lot of glow dust, you get sugar from this, you get emeralds forever. Sticks are, let me see, I believe the sticks were down here. But you get gunpowder, redstone, and then down here I had a collection area as well for sticks. And all of these chests that you see are actually for backfill. And you'll see that I've got totems and crossbows and potions and banners all layered in here. And this is just backfill. We're talking chests upon chests of excess items that I really didn't even need that many of. But this farm is very productive. And even over here, this is where the original Totem of Undying filter was. You can see that it overflows so fast that you end up having excess overflow in these excess overflow chests that I made. So that was the goal there. Like I said, my wife actually made most of this, not me. I do say I made, but my wife made most of this. And I ended up purchasing it off of her. Oh yeah, the spider eyes. That's another thing that we end up getting out of this as well. And this farm does provide a lot of experience. Not on par with the Enderman Farm by any means, but a good way of getting experience if you're willing to brave the vexes. Alright, so the area I am about to show you is still underway, and it is a work in progress, but it is my land, the area that I have dubbed as Daddy Land. And this is a mushroom island that I have taken it upon myself as my task to make it something prettier to look at and more enjoyable to your senses. You'll see what I mean here in a second. So without further ado, let me go ahead and show you guys a nice little cinematic clip of my new land, Daddy Land. Welcome on back, guys. Just hanging out here by the fire and warming up my back. You know how it is. Gotta sit next to the fire and get your back all warm. And I hope you enjoyed that little cinematic clip. I know that I was only able to show this bottom layer of the floor here. Let me go ahead and show you what we've done up top here. I did hire my wife's services for the top half of this house, and as you can see, this is what it looks like. We got this nice hanging chandelier area and the stairwell here. This was my kitchen. I really had a hard time figuring out what to do with this tiny space, and the Mad Mammy came in here and she really filled it correctly. I think it looks just right. Came along just perfectly, especially since I was having just a hard time figuring out what I wanted to do in this area. And also, she came in here and made certain I had a nice small storage area for my starter house in my new land. And this balcony area is a quick access point, so I didn't want anything obscuring it, so it's quick and easy to get back in there. Down here, I did most of this, but the Mad Mammy did add this nice little addition right here, and this corner was feeling a little blank, and she thought, you know what, let's just add a couple bookshelves in there to spice it up. And it sure did spice the area up nicely. I really appreciate the work she did in here. But yeah, this was probably one of my favorite starter house builds, guys, for my land. As you can see, this is the map of the area, and the land looks really cool on this map. I love the purple trail that I have going through the land and the grass, and we'll be expanding a lot of the grass over most of the Mushroom Island, so that way it's a much more lush and green environment to look at. One thing I've noticed about grass on a Mushroom Island is it almost seems to be more vibrant. Maybe it's just the contrast of the grass against the gray, the green versus the gray, but something about the grass here, it just looks, I don't know, just a little more lush, a little more vibrant. And at night, this area is really cool to walk through because it's a natural light source by itself. These amethyst crystals and the crying obsidian all work together to create a nice lit up path that you can walk through at night and feel safe because you're on a Mushroom Island. No hostile mobs spawn on a Mushroom Island unless you forget to sleep. Then you have to deal with phantoms, the worst voted in mob ever of all time. Thank you, guys. But I think that's where we're going to go ahead and end it today. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you guys checking out my new episode here. And I know it's been a couple weeks since I've posted. I did take about a month off. I've been trying to get a new computer, guys, and it told me that it was on the way, but it's just taking a little bit longer to get here than anticipated. So I had taken a break to get that set up, and well, it's not here yet. And I figured you guys have been waiting patiently long enough. It's time to get a video out and put this out here for you guys. Maybe something different, something new, something exciting. So, as always, thank you so much for watching today, and you be sure to stay safe out there, stay healthy, and I will see you all next time for this new series. Bye.